any of you men have any eggs or the possibility of carrying a fetus? How dare you talk about what a fetus wants? You have no idea. Now, I'm fine if you disagree with abortion. I have no problem with that. My problem comes when you tell me what I need to do with my doctor and my family. How dare you? How dare
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to On Fire with Daryl Brooks and Brian Smith, giving you the weekend roundup, telling you what you didn't know, what you missed, what you might have heard, but you didn't really get the details. We're going to lay it all out for you, expose it all, fake news, real news.
All right, I am so excited today. How you doing, Brian? It's a great Thursday. A lot of things are happening in the news. Once again, I'd like to thank all our viewers for watching the show. It's been a blessing. We've been our numbers are rising and rising and rising every week, and I am so excited about that. I think that people are really understanding what the show is all about. So I am excited, Brian.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you saw me look away, it's because I'm sharing the show.
All right.
So this is the first time I've been on the show. Again, share the show to your friends, your family. If you're on the Facebooks, click share, and to the right, there's groups. And then go all the way down to your groups. Do about 25 or 30 of all your groups, your Trump groups, your pro-America groups, America First, pro-life groups, and let them know that there's a new show out. Daryl's been doing this on and off for himself for at least for a while now. I've been doing this
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and I've been doing a couple of different shows for a couple of years. And Daryl said, "Hey, Brian, we said we would do one together." So, all right, man, let's knock it out. Let's make it happen. So we got a lot of things to talk about. We're going to talk about the big deal this past week with Michigan school shooting. Chicago's got some new numbers out, some new information. The SCOTUS is about ready to rule on abortion. We'll get into that. Chris Cuomo was a big deal this week for reasons.
Out of CNN.
Right.
Or CNN is something else.
Some updates. Got to update you on the COVIDs and the vaxxes. And then we got some Republican and Democrat news kind of on the side.
Oh,
so,
right.
So how's your week been, Daryl?
It's been an exciting week and working. Just trying to promote the show. I had supposed to have a show with Frederick Douglass, but he had technical issues, and so he's coming on. He's coming on with us. We try to do Facebook Live talk, but on his end it didn't work. So he's going to come on our show and sometime within the next week or two to talk about, he is Frederick Douglass. We're going to interview Frederick Douglass. Well, what's it like? So that's been my week. Then when you listen what happened in Michigan, in Michigan schools, it's so sad. Young kid, he's 15 years old. He shot 8 people, murdered 3 high school students in the prime of high school.
Right.
It's sad. It's like one of these things that, you're hearing this every week, every 2 weeks, a high school shooting. And I just feel sad for all these families and for him and his parents. Whether the kid was bullied or not, it's to the point it's sad where, you have young kids that are, going to school and just going to class and killing each other. These are kids that, you've seen every day. And, it's like, where's the help? Where's the support? Why should a young kid going to a school at 15 years old and in high school and he's, and just killing people? It's one of these things that makes me wonder what's happening, to our society and these young kids. They're killing in the inner city and they're killing in the suburbs.
What's amazing? What's amazing that people don't talk about? My niece, my brother's daughter, who's I think she's about 25 now. So maybe 10 years ago when she was in high school in Oklahoma, I believe, or either Oklahoma or Arkansas, she actually took a rifle shooting class in school with real rifles and real ammunition. Nobody got shot.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's amazing things going on. And when we dive into this, I feel like there's some information that people need to know and why these things are happening. And as the reports are out now, 3 students are apparently dead and 8 wounded. It was a student that was 15 years old. He has been arrested as an adult. He wore all black, they said, and he was a loner. The media is now trying to call the parents out because apparently years back, the mom put out a tweet and the husband retweeted it saying, "Dear Mr. Trump, President Trump-elect, feels funny to be even writing your name like that, but you made history on Tuesday." And then the husband said, "My wife can be spot on sometimes." So we've got the what's worse than the Huffington Post? It was the Daily Beast. The Daily Beast is trying to call this out as some kind of Trump supporting, NRA supporting problem. And I'm saying that is absolutely not what it is. I don't know what the abuse is going on in the home. I don't know what the father, what the mother, I don't know what the situation is. But I'm going to tell you right now, for anyone to do anything like this, you got to start out, what are they watching? Hollywood? What are they playing? They're playing the shoot 'em up games? What are they doing? What have they been doing all their lives, all these years, all this time? And what is the abuse like in the family? And then what is the abuse level like in the schools?
Yeah, you're definitely right. As I talked to you before on the show, is about all these video games, these violent TV shows that these parents, the parents have to look at what's happening. They cannot just sit there and allow their kids to watch these crazy video games, play these video games that are all they're doing is killing, violence, robbing people, stealing. And then you watch the crazy TV shows. And a lot of it is the parents' fault because when you look at what's happening to our society accepts these type of video games, accepts these type of television shows, these movies. You have young kids who are already angry. You have got teens in school. A lot of kids, they get teased in school, they get angry. There's no counseling. There's no way for that child to say, okay, I need some counseling. I need help. Could someone help me? This child was probably a loner, and he was angry, and I'm sure he had the internet. And the parents. Listen, I don't know if the parents or mother and father was a Second Amendment supporter, but if you're a Second Amendment supporter, you don't see too many Second Amendment supporters out there, shooting up schools. You don't see any. I haven't heard of any. Any of these groups, NRA groups, Second Amendment Society groups, their kids and their parents, these people are responsible people who own guns. And listen, I believe in the Second Amendment. You have the right to protect yourself, protect your family, protect your property. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm telling people. But when you have young kids that are emotionally unfit to have guns, and I don't know where this kid. We don't know where this kid got his gun from. It's like in the city in Philadelphia.
They were saying that it was it's the mainstream media trying to pin it on the dad. They're saying it's because he was able to buy it on Black Friday on a sale. Got it from his dad. Black Friday sale.
Black Friday sale. Okay, so where are the kids in the inner city getting their guns from? Where 500 and what? 1-2 murders? They don't talk about that.
The everyday sale.
So everyday sale. Where are the kids in Chicago getting their guns? Baltimore, Trenton. I mean, where are they getting their? Black Friday something. It's ridiculous. What this kid needed was some help and support. And maybe these parents did not get this child any, help and support. They said, okay, well, go ahead in your room, watch TV, just go ahead. Don't worry about anything. You'll be all right. And these things that happen. All these individuals, these young kids in these school shootings, they have been abused in school or abused at home. They're not talking to family members, and parents don't see the picture. And the picture is right there. I mean, as a parent, you as a good parent, you should be able to see, okay, what is my son learning in school? What is my son doing at home? Who are my kids' friends? What is happening? Is he too quiet? Is he doing strange things? You know, that some of these parents never ask that question. These are the questions you need to ask your kid. Now, if my son is having some issues, I should know I should go out and get him some help, some emotional help, mental help, spiritual help. These are the things that as parents, we should have to do when we see our kids that are in a crisis. Somewhere down the line, somewhere, the mother and the father saw something.
Well, they
That's the
they
sad
bear
part.
the responsibility. I did a scope about this a while ago, and I was confronted by some family members. So let me make it perfectly clear. And the example that I gave is that if you got on a scale 1 to 10, say the parents are like a 3 or a 4 in badness on a 1 to 10 scale, and the kid experiences that for many, many years, the kid will actually become as bad, 3 to 4, as the parents. That'll be your product. That will be your child. But a lot of these kids, me included, ramp it up and say, oh, I could be bad. I could be worse than that. I'm going to ramp this thing up. I'm going to get crazy with it. And there was a pastor that was talking about this. It's self-radicalization, where you actually get crazier and you go worse I'll show you. And a lot of times, and when we're talking about the internet, and I got I got a 7-year-old boy myself, and I'm sitting right next to him. I'm playing video games with him. And when the killings and those games, he knows we shut it down. He's like, Dad, look, this one again. Yep, shut that one down. We're not doing it. And he can understand, and he knows that. But parents, when you're letting these kids have phones and access to the internet, iPads, computers, whatever, and you're not watching what they're doing, I'll tell you what they're doing, especially boys. They're doing what you don't want them to do. I promise you this. I mean, I remember being back in the 80s when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. We did what we weren't supposed to do. And thank God there was no internet there. I mean, now these kids can watch beheadings. They can literally watch actual. I mean, we thought porn was bad. These kids are actually watching people getting murdered.
Yeah, it's out there. I tell a story when my son was 14. I think he was 14 years old, 13 or 14. He went over my girlfriend's house, and so he went over there. And the next morning, I looked at his iPad. I just wanted to see what he was doing, and he said something very about her inappropriate. Yeah. So I took him outside, and we sat by the fireplace. We built a fire, and I said, "Son, I read your iPad, and you really, I am disappointed in you, and I think you need to tell her you need to apologize." And so she never seen it, but still, Dad's girlfriend, fiance, you need to really, I love your son. I understand you got these issues, as a young boy. So you really need to go talk to her and apologize. So he went to apologize. I took him back in the house, and he apologized. And I think as a father, that was the right thing to do. We can now, as fathers, mothers and fathers, we cannot allow our children to just go rampant. Your son and your daughter's in the home. You should know if till 17, 18, what your child is watching on TV, what your child is writing on Facebook, on Twitter. Go check it out. So listen, I need your Facebook password. I need your Twitter password. It's that time. It's time to go looking, searching. Because you need to know. Because you don't want to, as a parent, you don't want to be surprised when something goes wrong.
They need to know that somebody's always watching them.
Yeah.
Even if it's not you. I'm going to tell you right now, me and a bunch of guys back in the day, back after Facebook launched, we actually purchased a clone, and we were going to do a Facebook, but it was a combination of some stuff. We tried to be different. It didn't work out. But needless to say, I literally was on the back end of what these guys are watching. There wasn't nothing we couldn't see. There wasn't nothing we couldn't tamper with. We would screw with people and change their passwords. We'd screw with people, delete photos, add photos, stuff they didn't know. I was just goofing off, whatever. There wasn't nothing we couldn't do. And we could see everybody's password. Don't think they don't know your passwords. They're on the inside. That's why Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey have this little God complex.
Yeah.
Because they have that much control over you.
Yeah, they see what's going on. And the thing about it is that, Zuckerberg and the rest of them behind Facebook, people who run Facebook, they allow you to do whatever, say whatever. They don't care. And the fact is, only one who cares should be your parents. Zuckerberg, they don't care unless you're going to put something really horrendous and killing. You want to kill a mass people, then something happens. But other than that, you can say whatever, do whatever on your Facebook page, your Twitter page, Snapchat, all these different things, and your parents will never know unless they have a password, which is acceptable. Listen, as a parent and as a child. If you're in my house and you're 18, once you get to 18, but before you're 18, I want to see everything.
All right.
And then you move out, boom, you go back, go to college. Well, if you're in my house, you should know, I have to check out everything.
Well, not only that, but you should be having these conversations with your kids early on. I know my oldest daughter's about ready to turn 14. I'm freaking out. Her sister's 12. And she's the calm one, but it's all good. But I've been having these conversations and talking with my girls for years and years. And when weird things come up, and when I say weird, things that that my kids shouldn't be learning about at this age, but it happens to come up because either a weird teacher throws something out. And this really happened in health class, played a video and showed the private parts of a dinosaur, because that's easier to talk about than the private parts of a man. And so now you forced me, bro, to engage in a conversation and rewrite my get my daughter's mind right about this weirdness. And that's fine, because we have an open conversation. I talk with my daughter all the time. She's very engaging. My kids talk all the time. So we've got an open communication there. My day job, I go to people's homes and I see the family lives, and there's no engagement, especially during this stupid lockdown. These kids hid away in their bedrooms, and they were on their, had the laptop open for school, and they're on their phone the whole time. They're on their phone, and parents didn't care as long as they're quiet. As long as they're quiet, they don't care.
Mm-hmm. And so, I am glad. I just want to say I'm glad I grew up in that certain generation where there was no Facebook and Snapchat or Twitter.
We're the last analog generation.
Yes, I'm glad. I can imagine. If, I was 16 and 17, 15, 14, and we had Facebook and Twitter. It would be terrible.
No. No, I can't even go down that road, man.
Yeah, it would be terrible. But it's I think that our generation, especially if we had certain parents, and my grandmother, she beat me over the head with the Bible every time I go down to St. Mary's, Georgia. So I kind of had the idea of knowing what's right and wrong, so it was one of these things where we have young kids today. Do they even know what's right and wrong? Do the parents know what's right and wrong? That's important, Brian. That's so important. If the boy and the girl, they don't know what's right and wrong, and the mama don't know what's right and wrong, you're gonna have some serious problems. I know when I grew up, our mother's from the South, St. Mary's, Georgia. She would never allow me to have girlfriends over, even spend a night. Now some of my buddies, they girlfriends stayed the night. The mom said, okay, why not? Cool. They can just sit down, and then some parents let their kids drink, and the daughters and the sons do whatever, come back late. But I had to be in the house by 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and I was 17. Okay, I'd come in the house by 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. But I would not disrespect my mother in a certain way. So, thank God my mom didn't allow me to do certain things. Now, my other buddies, they wind up having kids at 17, 18 years old because their parents allow them to do certain things. And the idea and the fact, what's a good parent these days? The social media, the social media and the television are developing parents. What is appropriate and what's not appropriate. Back in the day, certain things, 70s and 80s, that generation, certain things were totally inappropriate. You cannot watch it. You cannot talk about it. Right. It didn't have it on air. There wasn't a magazine.
Gertrude down the street, she saw you and your friends walking down the street smoking a cigarette like a chimney. What the hell you doing? Yeah, parents would tell other parents about what you was doing. We ain't got that no more.
Oh, yeah, and you're 16, 15 years old or 14, you order Playboy magazine. You know, your parents got the magazine first before you did. What is this? So, no.
What it is.
Oh, no. This is not a... Boy, are you crazy? Yeah, no, that's what it was like.
Right.
That's what it was like. So, you know, we're now in a difficult situation, and I've always talked about these things that, you know, we're going to need more leaders to come out, moral leaders, you know, not perfect leaders, because there's no perfect leader, but you need individuals, preachers and activists, you know, come out and speak about these things and bring love. You have to love. You know, Martin Luther King said that we're all caught up in this great inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. And whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly, Brian. And I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be, and you can never be what you ought to be unless I am what I ought to be. This is what we need. You know, people who have empathy for each other and loving each other and supporting each other. Take that little kid, you see him talking, you see him struggling, go talk to him.
Right.
Go take him out to dinner. Go have coffee with him. You know, just take your soda, ice cream. Tell them it's a problem. Say you have problems, difficulty with your parents. Some things are happening and parents may not see that, but you can see it because you know that child and you know something's wrong. You know, we're turning into society, you know, where it's getting crazier. You know, CNN, you know, MSNBC, you know, whoa, Chris Cuomo. You know, you know How many lawsuits? Yeah, how many? What's the black guy on CNN? I can't think of his name.
Don Lemonhead.
Don Lemonhead. You know, what type of lawsuit? A sexual harassment lawsuit on another guy who works a bar. Wow. You know,
well, we've got now young girls, and I know specifically one young girls who are graduating high school in America, and they want a good job. And they don't have a very good education, especially coming from CPS here, Cincinnati Public Schools. It's pretty awful. And they have found that if they have an internet connection and a private room, then they can make thousands of dollars a week. Young girls, thousands of dollars a week in front of a camera and set up a screen name on an adult site. And now that is considered a legit job, and that's condoned and that's acceptable. And as long as I'm 1099, I'm paying my taxes and we're good to go. We've literally gone off the rails when it comes to moral guidelines. I was at church last night. We had a pastor that came in from England, and he's like, this is the first chance I was able to get out of England. For the last 2 years, we have been absolute lockdown. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the difference between light and darkness, and we're in darkness right now, but it's not a battle between light and dark, because when lightness shows up, darkness absolutely runs away. When you turn the light away, darkness starts to come back in. And I feel like in our country, and when you talk about the youth and how we used to go to church as kids and we hated it, at least we had some kind of moral grounding and a foundation. To where, you know, when I was in my 20s, my late 20s, I was like, man, I'm messing up, and I know why. I need to go find a church or something. I mean, you know, there is a right and there is a wrong.
Yeah, you're definitely right. You know, Martin Luther King said, "Darkness cannot put out light. Darkness cannot put out darkness. Only light can put out darkness." And there are individuals who believe that because they're dark and they're trying to fight dark. You know, you can't fight dark with darkness. You only can fight light. And so this is our society that we're having. We have a society that are full of dark people, and they're pretending to be the light. But because they're pretending, you see our society now how it's getting darker and darker because they have the preachers who are dark. They have the politicians who are dark. They have the community actors that are dark. Celebrities that are dark. And so you got to ask, well, okay, well, if you're supporting all these politicians, celebrities, and everything else, and preachers, Why is our society is getting worse? Why is my community is getting worse? Why is still we 15-year-old kids killing? Why is young girl getting shot in New Orleans and she's 22 as actress? Why these young boys and girls in Philadelphia are on the SEPTA train attacking? It's very disturbing, Brian. And
Larry Elder says all the time. He says, look at the out of wedlock births, which is so common now across the board in the Black community. It's about almost, I think it's around 77 to 78% born out of wedlock. In the Hispanic community, it's in the 30 percentile born out of wedlock, and in the white community, I'm sure it's catching up to 30%. It used to be 25, 26% for years, but those are moving up, and the moral guardrails have been taken off. And when you talk about the LGBTQ LMNOP, and you talk about California, who, folks, if you don't know, I lived out there when this came down the pike. When they put it to the vote, the voters in California every single time voted no on same-sex marriage. No. And they said, nah, you guys don't know what you want. So legislators just legislated it. And the Supreme Court said, well, since California season, y'all got to see it. And what they did is they rewrote the definition to a word. The word is marriage, and there's a definition to that word. You guys need to come up with your own word, and I got one for them. Years, you guys know me. It's garage. You got your own word. It's garage. You try to take our rainbow.
What does that stand for? What does that mean?
A gay marriage. you try to take our rainbow, try to take the word gay, and you try to take the word marriage. We can't have that. There's got to be moral standards, rules, and regulations. You just can't do whatever.
Yeah, I remember back in the '60s, I used to listen to some of these songs and TV shows, and they're talking about, oh, I'm happy and gay.
Right. We had a bar here in the city called the Gay 90s.
Yeah, the Gay 90s. Yeah, people just say it's happy. Now you better not say, oh, I'm gay and happy. They look at you like you're crazy. So Brian, I agree with you. And for me, my mother was single. I was born out of wedlock, and I had children out of wedlock, and I had to realize that certain things was not acceptable anymore. You just can't repeat over and over and over and over again, and keep repeating the same mistakes. There has to be a point where, okay, just enough is enough. And so, we're not always perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to say things. We're going to do things wrong. We're going to, act out. But there's always a period in your life where you say, okay, that come to Jesus moment. Okay, I have to stop. I have to think. And we have to wake up. And so all of us have, when our children, we have to say the same thing to our children. Listen, you can't repeat the mistakes of your father or your grandfather.
Break that generational curse.
Yeah, the generational curse, and it's real. And sometimes that curse is all around you. It's that I used to wonder to myself. All my friends had kids, right? And I used to wonder. I was like 23, 24 years old. That's okay. What's wrong with me? Why? Yeah, okay.
Nothing.
I'm trying to figure out. I don't have a child. What's wrong with Darrell Brooks? And that's what I used to wonder all the time. And then I had a child. So okay, now I get there. Oh, another one. I'm like, okay, well, something has to stop. But we're not perfect, and people, when we go to church, we strive for perfection, knowing that we are sinners. But knowing that, we're not hypocrites because we are trying to get better and be better Christians. And so that's what said, well, you had children out of wedlock. How could you talk? Well, because we had them, but okay, we understand, and we're trying to show you that there's a better way than having children out of wedlock. There's nothing wrong with marriage. Marriage is wonderful. Marriage is great. You have unity with each other. And, you have in every community, Black, Hispanics, white community, American community. You have that, and that's a serious problem because you see what's happening to our society.
Well, you have your testimony, and that's literally what it is. And I've got my testimony, and that's what it is. And we're here to assist the kids that are coming up and help them. Hey, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. And here's what I found. There's literally a right way of doing this thing. I heard a preacher say years and years and years ago, said that when you come into the world, you come in the world innocent. No child can be accused of anything wrong as the child comes into the world. But as the child starts to grow up, the willful mother and the mother that's been sexed and not loved, and the failing of the father, and the angst and the frustration in that family gets into the kid. Now the world comes into the kid, and that innocence is gone. And I contend that for the rest of your life, once you move out, you got to work on getting out of you what was put into you at birth. I'm just saying, you got to work on getting that out.
So, Brad, what kind of boy was you? Was you a Bon Jovi boy or a Guns N' Roses boy? Which one?
If the girls were around, we were playing Bon Jovi. Oh man, no, I did GNR. Yeah, I never had the albums, so I had the CDs. No, but to your point, I was adopted at birth. I was 3 days old. The woman who had me was 14 going on 15. It was January 1973. Roe v. Wade was legal. She was 2.5 months pregnant, and she did have me. So obviously, June 21st, first day of summer. And as I look forward to the parents that adopted me, that I call mom and dad to this day, and the problems that we had growing up, are pretty severe. Not really monetary problems, and it goes to show you, money doesn't fix it, folks. I'm a testament to that. But you've got to be able to work out your relationships with the women, and in society nowadays, women are being taught that you are to use your physique as you've got it. If you don't got it, you're screwed. If you're old, well, throw that out the window. But if you got the physique, you're supposed to use that and dominate men to get them. I'm here to tell you, that's called the Jezebel spirit. Look it up. Ain't good. Ain't good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a society, when sex is promoted, especially MTV, BT, all the wild videos. You see all these the lyrics they're talking about. It's hard. That television, especially that television. When like I said, I came up in the '80s, MTV generation. I used to sit down and watch. I wanted to watch Michael Jackson, Run DMC. So I used to watch Led Zeppelin and
when they actually played music videos, the name of the show, they actually did that.
Bon Jovi and Aerosmith. I'm like, okay, who are these guys? They're having a great time. These
and it was all
Bon
about
Jovi,
women.
Yeah. It was like, okay, boom. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. Pour some sugar on me. Like a bomb, baby. Come on, get it out.
No, but we laugh about that now. But back then, back then they was teaching us. They was telling us that this is what you do. And I'm here to say, I'll be honest with you, that's not what you do. If I can turn back the clock and say, okay, well, when a man and a woman come together, it is an emotional, spiritual bond, and it was meant to be that way. And if you start doing that with other people, and start as a man, every woman, I tell you right now, she's gonna do something to your soul. She's gonna leave something in there.
Yeah, definitely. I was like that. I was a Keith Sweat type guy. Anybody know who Keith Sweat was? So
I ain't heard that in years.
Yeah, I was, but those were like you say, some of the kids and the heroes. A lot of us had certain heroes in the music industry and basketball. Dr. J was my hero because he had that image, that clean cut image. When I was coming up as a kid, and next thing you know, here come the late '80s, and like, oh wow, videos. Oh wow, look at the music. It's so no more New Edition count me out, and there's an Easy Love. Here's a Keith Sweat. You may be right. Young but you're ready, and all the crazy stuff. Like, oh wow, I like this stuff. But a lot of us, we still saw the violent video game. We saw the violent TV shows, the violent movies. But we had enough common sense to know that it was a movie.
Right.
So
well, now it's become a way of life.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a generation that when they look at these movies, and they watch these video games, they look at it as they take it to heart. It's real, almost in the, you know, and they're psychic that, okay, this is, you know, oh, I want to be this guy. You know, I didn't want to be Rambo because I know Rambo was, you know, a television, a movie star. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Well, when you play these video games for hours and hours and hours on end, and this is a great, great illustration that I just thought somebody was telling me about a young lady who has a single mom, has a 6-7-year-old boy, and apparently he was playing the adult video games with the shoot 'em up, the kill 'em games. I don't, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what the names of the games are, but he was in her bedroom playing these games, and she overheard people screaming, F you, F, you know, all kinds of profanities, all kinds of latent things. And she opens the door, and the 7-year-old boy says, get out, shut the door. And so she shuts the door. And I was talking to her, I said, no, you tell him to get the hell out there and you delete that game. But at 7 years old, he's having adult conversations with adults, violently shooting and killing people.
Yeah, you coming in with, that's the time when you come in with the belt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah, that's how you coming in with the belt. But, you know, you still have parents who are still afraid to hit their child. You know, it's, you know, listen.
Spank them on the bottom. If you do it young, you don't have to do it older. I know that for a fact.
So it's you know, we're reaching a boiling point in America, and I'm just afraid, Bryant, that when that pod explodes,
right?
You know, we're going to have a hell of a problem in our society, and you know, when that pot explodes, you know, what are we going to do, and how are we going to react? I guess so. We're dealing with our own people. Right, our own family or friends or kids we know. You know, how do we deal with that when it explodes? You know,
the way it's been dealt with so far has been with violence, and I don't have the video downloaded. You guys could probably look it up if you wanted to, but this hot topic debate with the abortion issue once again coming to the Supreme Court justice, and you've got women dressed in all black, chanting and cheering in front of "We are taking abortion pills forever," and they're literally taking abortion pills in front of the video cameras, laughing it up and screaming and yelling. And I put a Bible verse to it. I said, the spiritually blind person must cry out to God, but pride stops them. Pride stops people from seeking the truth and opening up their minds to the truth. People choose to remain ignorant. If you think that abortion is not killing of a life, and if you think that the baby is part of the mother, you got a misconception of a conception. The turkey's in the refrigerator and it needs to stay there, otherwise it's going to go rotten. But the turkey is not the refrigerator. They're completely different things. Then you've got a baby in the state of Ohio, 18 days they can detect the heartbeat. 18 days, illegal in Ohio, which was a conception, but I'll take 18 days versus the governor, former Governor Northam. I'm not sure if he was the black face of the white hood, but the Democrat who said abort the baby afterwards, you just talk it out with the doctor. Yeah, that's the Democrats.
Yeah, and Brian, our statistics say, what is it? 60 million have had 60 million abortions in America. 1 out of every 4 women have had abortions by the time they're 45.
Wow.
You know, wow. So when you look at these things, you talk about, you have these women taking abortion pills. These was the same type of women when I was on I talk about in my book, when I was on the Riverline. And they were the women in pink, and they were protesting President Trump's campaign after he won. And the lady it was a lady. I guess she was in her early 30s. You know, she said to me, she hopes that President Trump gets assassinated. And I said, well, what do you think about his kids? How do your kids feel? She didn't care. these type of individuals who don't care, who are immoral, don't believe in God, they're violent, or they talk violent, and so it's all about what they believe in. They don't go to church. They don't love God. They want to do
They don't even love themselves.
love themselves. They're doing what's, and that's the thing. That's the thing, Brian. When you do what's, they're doing what's political right instead of what's morally right. So politically right is not always right for the people. What's morally right is always right for our society. But when you go to politics and say it's okay, it's politically right to have an abortion because the policy says, the politician says it's, and that's our problem. We are steady following the political right thing to do instead of what's morally right. And we look at our society: 60 million abortions, 60 million, Brian. It's sad. Listen, something has to change. We have to speak out. The individuals that believe in God, the ones who are on the right side of things, and you have some liberals on the right side, and you have a lot of conservatives on the right side. When I say the right side is that side that's always going to do the right thing by God. That's the right side. So you have some Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and a lot of individuals that are doing the right thing, who believe in the right thing. But we have to, like I said, have empathy for individuals, talk to them. We have to show them love. Abortion is not always what's right, because after that abortion, you may not have a child. A year or two later, next thing you know, you have an abortion. The doctor says, you ask the doctor, okay, what's wrong with me? Well, you had an abortion. You take all these pills. They call them, you take these abortion pills. There are women have taken 5, 6, 7 abortion pills. They're calling the abortions. They call the abortion clinic Planned the chop shop. That's how. They have these guys that name the chop shop. Their women have had 3. I've known women that have 3, 4 abortions.
But that's got to damage the insides. I'm just telling you, there was an abortion doctor, real famously known, that was giving his testimony in front of Congress, that was talking about for years and years and years. And he went, I'm not going to do it, but he went through very medically and systematically about how it's done, how it's the procedure goes through, what he has to do, very medically. And it was just beyond Gosnell. You think Gosnell was bad? They're all saying that Gosnell was bad. That is what goes on, the whole Gosnell thing. But he was saying that he had a daughter, and she was about 6, 7 years old, and he never thought twice about giving abortions at all. It was his job. And one day, his daughter was in a car wreck, and she died. And he went back to work to kind of drown himself into work. And one day he was just doing what he normally does every day, and it hit him. It struck him. He said, I can't do this anymore. And it was, and it's unfortunate that it came to that. And life works in mysterious ways to wake people up. And now he's an advocate for life.
It has to play in your psyche. It has to. When you're actually knowing you're killing God's greatest creation, God's creation. When you knowingly do it over and over and over again, when you're killing individuals, when you're killing that child, that's, it's like even when you have people that are or death row, you have COs that are actually putting people to death. They
tough.
A lot of them are going crazy. A lot of them are suffering. Right. Because they're actually pushing that button.
They used to back in the day for the firing squad. They have 10 guys up there, and only one of them had a real bullet. So then nobody knew who was the shot that killed him. And that's how they like kind of got. That's how they deal with it.
But it's that your mind, and when you're knowing, especially if you're a Christian. And you say you're a Christian, and next thing you know, you're putting people to death, or you're killing children. That child in the mother's womb, when you're killing that, that eventually, you're gonna have to pay for that. You're gonna be suffering emotionally. You can't always do evil, and if you're a Christian and you're doing evil, that you're on a dark side. You're not on the side of light. Just certain things that that are morally unacceptable.
Yeah, Ronald. I saw a bumper sticker the other day that was attributed to Ronald Reagan, and I'm not sure if it is or not, but it says I find it funny that the people that were actually born are the ones advocating for abortion. You were born, and you're advocating for other people to not be born. Think about that. It's crazy.
Yeah, give a child. Yeah, send that. Listen, have that child. Give that child a chance. Go to an adoption agency. There's plenty of mothers that want to have children. Give that child a chance. That child could probably do great things. Listen, you were adopted, and look at you now. You're doing great things. You're city councilman. You're talk shows. You're speaking the truth. All that child wants to know is, I don't know. It's saying inside the room, I want a chance. Just
right.
Give me that chance.
Right, and just kind of moving along through the stuff today. Got an update on Waukeshia, Wisconsin, with the parade, the Christmas parade massacre. And it wasn't the car who did it, and it was the guy who did it. The suspect's Brooks. Yeah, the suspect's mother points her finger at the deadly horror. Says that he was living with his mother. And he was 60, who's 62. He was 39. She says that he suffers from mental illness. He's been on medication since he was a child. His ex-girlfriend says she's devastated by his monstrous act. However, he was a career criminal, had a sprawling rap sheet with more than 24 arrests in Georgia, Wisconsin, Nevada. This is the prime example of what we're talking about here when it comes to these boys, specifically men, but these boys, the one with the Michigan shooting and now this. The damage happened as children, whether they're fatherless, whether it's a failed father, whether it's an abusive father, the damage was done early on.
Was it the medication? It's
But speaking about the medication, some of this medication, it's supposed to make you not depressed. Side effects include suicide.
Yeah,
what are we doing? Was it the medication? Was the how does a boy grow up in school, elementary school, junior high? What kind of parents did he have? All of these play a role in our in a role when these kids are growing up. They are suffering. A lot of these kids. Listen, I grew up in the city. I've seen a lot of suffering in the city. A lot of young kids. They have these problems. They get on drugs, and it's so sad when I see them. They're my age. I'm 53 years old. When I see them growing up and they're my age, they look old. I'm 53. And I hope I don't look that old, but they look like they're 75. Because of the drugs. Yeah, oh yeah. You can tell that drugs, that problems in their communities have destroyed their bodies and just accepted whatever. And I am hurt that I still see all these problems that I see. But this kid Brooks, he's 39 years old. He's going to jail for the rest of his life. I just wish that somebody could have talked to that kid when he was younger. Somebody had a responsibility to say, listen, let me show you the right path. Even this kid who's 15 years old that in Michigan, somebody should have looked at that kid and showed some love and empathy and did something with him to help change the way he thinks. Right. Real quick, I've got a clip. This clip kind of segues from the abortion thing into the medical thing. Here's the left as they're going crazy.
Any of you men have any eggs or the possibility of carrying a fetus? How dare you talk about what a fetus wants? You have no idea. Now, I'm fine if you disagree with abortion. I have no problem with that. My problem comes when you tell me what I need to do with my doctor and my family. How dare you? How dare
Really? How dare you? How dare you tell me what to do? I'm not telling you to do what you want to your body. because you can not have babies. There's a way to not have babies. I tell my daughter, says every time, no matter if you got a condom, the protections or whatever you got, every time that you get together, there's 100% chance you're gonna get pregnant. There's 100% chance. It's possible that you're gonna get pregnant. The only way not to get pregnant is don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But once you have a baby, you're not in control anymore.
Yeah, and and you got Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, my God, how many pounds she's what, 400 pounds?
Jabba. It's so angry. See all that evil in her. It's just so angry.
Actually, all that evil is building up in her. I wonder how they got in this. I wonder how they got in the studio. Did they have to cut a hole in the studio and get a fire department to swing her inside the studio? I mean, I don't know how she couldn't fit in the door. And she's just, she talks and talks and talks. And
she's lecturing us about her body. It's hers, but our body's not ours.
Yeah, and Whoopi can keep her body.
What? Nothing to do with that.
She can keep her body. And that's the thing. They talked about me. That show.
Really?
During that whole thing. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
They during with me and Giuliani. And I like to meet Whoopi one day and sit down and have a conversation with her, have empathy with her. Listen, you need to lose some weight. You need this. What you need to do. Here's a Bible. Yeah. Go to the gym. Take some pills, whatever. Just go to the gym. Feel much better.
The treadmill.
So
just walk it off.
Walk it off. Walk around the planet 1 or 2 good times.
Here we go. It's so crazy. Speaking about the vaccines, folks, lots and lots. Don't think it's not happening. Lots and lots of protests around the world. Around the world. I'm probably totaling in the millions of people pushing back on the vaccine mandates. We got some great news coming out of America. We got Matthew Shelp, a judge from Western District of Missouri, blocked a Biden administration mandate on Monday in 10 states that require the vax for healthcare workers, citing the regulations handed down by CMS did not receive approval from Congress. And Jim Jordan blasted this administration and their officials for trying to mandate mandates and come up with all kinds of rules and regulations. And Jim Jordan said, hey, I guess you don't even need Congress anymore. Y'all just do whatever you want. You don't even need to go through us. What's going on? So that's really where it's coming down.
Yeah, did you hear about the Buccaneers football players? They lied on their vaccine, so they got suspended. I think it was the Buccaneers. Yeah, one of the wide receivers lied about his vaccine, and they suspended him 3 times for 3 games. Wow. So,
well, when you got OSHA, which is highly illegal for OSHA to mandate the injections of serum into human beings, and they backed off of it. They're not doing it. New Zealand ruled vaccine rollout illegal. Lawyer argued it's in the trial phase until 2023. Court ruled that medical trials can only be select number of people, not the entire population. So lawyer got a little bit creative with it, but I mean, speak truth to power. He didn't lie about anything, but it's experimental.
I mean, can you imagine if we had a Congress and other political activists just said, okay, you do whatever? I mean, they just, the Biden administration, and Fauci, they're just doing whatever they want to do. And I am so glad that we have some Republican Congress people, and some other activists around the country and around the world just challenging. There's nothing wrong with challenging, because, we love ourselves, we love our bodies. And we have a right to protect. It's our God-given right. That's what I tell people. Oh, you activists, you don't like Fauci, you don't like Biden, you don't like vaccines, you don't want to protect them. No. We love our bodies. We love our bodies.
I should have that choice, Whoopi.
Whoopi, yeah. Let's send Whoopi to a gym. and I'm just sad that you have people like Whoopi Goldberg and other ones who are just speaking the most craziest thing, and it's like that's the progressive. That's
Right.
the progressive thinking. I am right. I am on TV, or I have more money than you, or I am smarter than you. I went to this top college, so I am right. You listen to me because I am on television. I have arrived. I have made it. I am your leader. You listen to me. Don't listen to the other people. And that's how they think. That progressive left. These Democrats, and it's like the Woodrow Wilson type thinking.
Oh,
Yeah,
first
Woodrow
communist
Wilson.
president,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah. Woodrow Wilson thinking. Look what he brought the Federal Reserve in, the
Sure did.
taxes, and all these other different things, racism. He was, and this is why New Jersey has never had a president other than Woodrow Wilson. So who wants a president from New Jersey? But this is how, yeah. So, but this is how they think because I am smarter than you.
Right.
So I know what's right. I know what's right for my body. Now I'm gonna tell you what's right for your body. And because you are a lower level of people, you should listen to me
So
and
we're the
accept the truth.
serfs. We're the
Yeah, yeah,
serfs, and you guys are the
yeah,
kings and queens. Jim
yeah.
Jordan asked the administration, said, how many votes did Fauci receive, and what day was he elected?
Yeah.
And they were stunned. They were dumbfounded.
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, he takes his boss is the president for the most part." And Jim pushed back and said, "Really? I don't even think he listens to him." And the administration was like, "Yeah, probably not."
And that's and you're right. And that's the problem with a president like Biden. Where he's asleep at the wheel. Stevie Wonder better off driving being president.
I would take Stevie Wonder any day of the week.
Yes. Impress me, take over the wheel, Stevie Wonder. But what I understand. So but we have a president like Biden who is totally out of it, and you have people around him who are doing whatever, and they don't even have to check in with Biden. And Biden will accept it because Biden's just he's a puppet, he's a tool, and and it's sad because those people, and I've talked to people now that say, "Oh my God, I shouldn't have elected Biden." Well, this is what you get.
If you didn't see that coming,
yeah. But the fact is that the media, if you listen to CNN, if you listen to MSNBC, they only had certain types of clips of Biden. They didn't, and they hate Trump. This is why Biden got elected. And he stole the election. He's a thief.
And when you look at, you were talking before, CNBC's Jim Cramer demands Joe Biden force vaccines for all Americans, says have the military run it. That's the news. That's the news. He's on some kind of money line talk on CNBC. And he's pushing. This is where it has to stop. It has to stop with the fake news media. So as we're rounding out the hour, last thoughts.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
welcome to America.
It's already been an hour, man.
Yeah, it's been an hour. Welcome. I just want to tell people this. Welcome to America. If you've been asleep at the wheel like Joe Biden, a regular, you've been like Rip Van Winkle, wake up and revolutionary. You missed everything. A lot of people are sleeping. A lot of people are Rip Van Winkle. You know what I mean? They just sleep. And when they're waking up, they're like, "Oh my God, this is happening." Well, listen, people, it's time to think. It's time to have that critical thinking. Think about what's happening. Challenge the media, challenge your family and friends around you, and step to the plate. Because the people in our society, we are looking for great thinkers, critical thinkers, and who believe in God. And you see what's happening. More murders than ever before, more school shootings than ever before. It's time to step up and love God with all your heart, have empathy for people, work together, and unite. That's what it's all about as Americans.
Right, 100%. Absolutely. There is a right and there is a wrong. Some cultures are better than others. Your thoughts are not your own. They truly are not your own. You have to question your own thoughts, question your upbringing, question your parents, question what they've told you in the past. But don't hold it against them. Drop the resentment and move on. And again, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, there is a right way to live life. It is a very healthy, peaceful way to live life, instead of letting the voices in your head dictate what you should and shouldn't do. And thank you, folks, for hanging out with us for the hour. This is Brian Smith, Dale Brooks on fire.
And there's a boogeyman in Washington. Believe that.
Yes, there is.
The boogeyman. Believe in that boogeyman.
All right, guys. See you next week.
The Villages, America's friendliest hometown. The Villages, America's friendliest hometown. The Villages.